So, in concluding day 3 of the Final Fantasy XIV adventure, I did decide to stream it again because that was a really easy way to do the background footage, and, you know, then my friends could watch if they wanted to watch, because I have a bunch who are somewhat interested in the game. Indeed, even the rather boring stream from the night before seems to have possibly sold one of my friends, as the way he put it, he wanted an MMO that looked pretty and had a lot of stuff to do, which this certainly seems to, on top of the fact that he doesn't really have a computer. He has a, like, Apple laptop he uses for school and hasn't really needed a real computer in a while, but he did pick up a PS4 to play Final Fantasy XII, so yeah, this would be a good call in that regard. On that note, today I tried to delve further into the Gold Saucer, played around a little bit with Chocobo Racing. Weirdly, it got kinda glitched. Actually, there were a lot of kinda glitches. Because when I tried to log in, it said it was unable to retrieve my character data, which definitely disconcerted me. And my mini gremlin was not out, so that was a little weird. And when I tried to do the Chocobo Racing tutorial, like, that got stuck too, and then I had to wait a really long time to actually get into the tutorial race, because for some reason it had to reserve a server for that. So that was weird, but at least I got to play the rail shooter thing. I messed around with a platformer thing, which, wow, this game is not built for platforming. That was frustrating in a hilarious sort of way. And I did get a chance to play Master of Verminion, which, wow, that is way too much game. But I kind of like what I see there. It is a weirdly robust real-time strategy game that you use your minion pets for. You have to have at least 3, so you can just, like, buy them? So, okay, it's relatively easy to get a little pet thing following you around, and it's neat that each one has different, like, stats and stuff for playing Master of Verminion, but, whew, almost a little too much game. Also, the second time I did the Air Force One rail shooter, Ultros and Chupon were there, so that was neat. Just all sorts of random crap, and, yeah, after logging off, I messed around with, learning how to do crafting, which the crafting in this game is a little weird. Like, in order to craft items, you actually job change to whatever, crafty thing you want to do, and then you actually use skills to craft the items. It's a little funky, but I think I kind of like it. And, yeah, very interesting. Also, I did break down eventually and decide to use the cash shop to buy a silver bikini. Because I've been, you know, looking at all sorts of clothing items, and that one, of course, intrigued me. And, yeah, that was, I just realized I should have been talking about something else, but we'll get back to that later. I know, I'm sorry, I'm dragging on a little bit, but I did, okay. It is a little questionable that we do have a pay-to-buy-it MMORPG that also has a monthly fee and also has a cash shop. But the silver bikini was affordable. It was a seasonal item. They don't have that much in the cash shop. And I was like, you know, I'm me. And I was curious how it would work. That was, like, a lot of things I messed around with today was very much a, I'm curious how this works, sort of deal. And in this case, like, my big question was, okay, how do I pay for it? Is there any way to do PayPal? And the answer was kind of. I have the Steam version, so I use the Steam wallet, and then the Steam wallet uses PayPal. So I go from the Final Fantasy, from the MogNet or whatever website to Steam, then from Steam to PayPal, then from PayPal back to Steam, then from Steam back to the MogNet website. Okay, whatever works. And then I had to wait like a couple minutes for it to actually go through and get me my damn bikini. But anyway, I have a silver bikini. You'll probably likely be seeing that in tomorrow's video. Also had some trouble with the glamour plates because of that as well. Finding all sorts of funky things out about the glamour plates. Like, when you apply the glamour plates, it overwrites the look of an item. But then if you take the item that you overwrote the look of and put it in your glamour chest, it goes back to normal, but it loses any dyes you put on it. And you can dye items in the glamour chest, but then they don't stick and they're only dyed for that plate. But if you dye them before putting them in the glamour chest, they stay dyed for all plates? Lots of confusion and weirdness there, and I think I wasted a good number of glamour crystals, so I'm gonna need to figure out how to get more of those. Anyway, sorry for dragging on, but, basically not a lot of real progress, lots of me just fucking about figuring out how all the different mechanics of the game work. And then, eventually the game was like, hey, it's time for you to do an instance dungeon. That's the next part of the main plot. And this is where things got a little bit worrying. Because in order to continue progressing the main storyline, I had to do an instance dungeon. And in order to do an instance dungeon, you need to be in a party. And not just in a party, you need to be in a party with 2 DPS, 1 healer, and 1 defense. 1 tank. And yeah, you just click the button and it'll auto-find you a party, but I was like, man, there's no one waiting for this party here. What the crap? Thankfully, those parties do go across servers, so eventually it just found me a party of 3 from the Lamia server, and we all did it together, and we were all beginners, and that was actually pretty fun. Once that actually started, and I was no longer just waiting in a queue, it was like, oh wow, you get the big zoomy camera introduction to the dungeon thing, and that's all really fancy, and then all the monsters are aggroing on you, and it's, super actiony, and it really feels like being in an RPG. It was really nice. It was actually really great. No one really did any talking, and certainly some dumb aggro was drawn, and I'm really intrigued by the loot system. Basically, when you defeat enemies, they drop loot. You walk up to it, and then you choose what kind of claim you want to put on it. It's, you choose between need, greed, or pass. And I really wonder how that system works. Like, if you pass on enough items, does that boost your chance of getting an item you're greedy for? I don't know. But it is neat, kind of, the way that works. And that's how they distribute the items, like, semi-random based on needs and wants and people who don't even give a crap. So, that's neat. I really liked doing the instance dungeon. Waiting was a bit of a pain in the ass, and a lot of that, of course, was because I'm a pugilist, I'm a DPS guy, and everyone's DPS, that's the most common type of class. Tanks and healers, they get in dungeons much, much faster. But yeah, moving on from that was most of what I did, just, faffing about getting a Chocobo for the Chocobo race. Oh yeah, that's right, I checked out the, user shop thing. Loaded that up, and that let me try on a bunch of the different outfits in the game, and now I understand why I was given that 20,000 gil. Because, wow, while that's tons of money to a newbie, and it really helps them out to just dump that much money in their lap, in the real game, that's not a whole lot. From a user shop, I think you'd make 20,000 just from selling some of the crappier items in the game. So, yeah, that was interesting. That was very interesting. Really neat to see what all is available. And, yeah, just messing around, still enjoying the game. Didn't play it for too terribly long today, because I was tired as all heck. Obviously, I am desperately looking for even more fashion options for my glamour plates. Oh, one more thing, I did unlock the Aesthetician, which was a very fun quest, which lets you, redo your hairstyle and your makeup and all that. And that for, 2,000 gil. And you're supposed to be able to unlock more hairstyles, But it looks like for Vieira's, you just don't. They don't have the extra hairstyles in yet. On that note, one hairstyle that the Vieiras desperately need is bob cut. I like bob cuts as much as I like pigtails, nice big straight bob cut. And I realized there have been a few in Final Fantasy XII, at least, I swear, that had cute bob cuts, and I'd like that to be added. But yeah, no, still enjoying the game, still very much thinking about it, and the sheer amount of stuff to do is definitely a big plus, thinking about it. Because that is something I've always wanted as well, because all the MMOs I've actually liked have been, well, they've been very instance-based. It's PSO, Dungeon Fighter Online, and City of Heroes. PSO and Dungeon Fighter Online, that's a you get in a lobby, 4 people go and run dungeons. It's very Diablo-y. And then City of Heroes didn't really have a lot to do, from when I played anyway. I didn't mess with, making your own quests and stuff, or much of City of Villains at all. But most of what you just did was just running dungeons with people and running around the city and stuff, from my experience with it anyway. So having a MMO where you have not only the big world, but also, oh, by the way, we have, a deep chocobo breeding system that I've still barely even scratched the surface on, and an RTS game for your minions, and you can play Triple Triad, and you can even challenge, certain random NPCs in towns to Triple Triad, so it's got the best part of Final Fantasy VIII in there as well, and just all of the stuff. I like all the stuff, and there is clearly even more stuff for me to discover, and I'm liking that. But I did still enjoy doing Fates more than I enjoyed running that dungeon. And also, wow, the population was just weird tonight. That was the thing, because I did have to wait in a little bit of a queue in order to get onto the server, like a 12-person deep queue. And then I get on there, but it just didn't seem as populated tonight as it was last night. I swear everyone's just clustered around the plaza in Limsa Laminza. I didn't see nearly as many people on the roads running around. I didn't see nearly as many people, engaging in Fates. I was having a little bit of trouble finding a group, which is weird because the servers were simultaneously overloaded. Maybe a lot of people just crashed out or quit out and gave up for the night or something. Maybe my timing was weird. I didn't really start playing until 8 p.m. I don't know. We'll see what tomorrow brings. But that is the day 3 report for Final Fantasy XIV Realm Reborn with Vieira's stuff. We'll see what tomorrow brings. See you then.